I keep thinking this is just the Eagles' oxygen. That this is the like what the Yankees of the '70s, where you need this sort of I guess drumbeat to feel comfortable, because they seem to be really comfortable with it. Unless this is a massive offensive problem that you, Mike, think is going to come home to roost one day for them.
I think all the conversation in Philly centers on is what going to happen last year, continue to happen, which is the team gets better and better and it culminates in a Super Bowl championship, or what's going to happen the year before with the team that started out 10-1 and had some locker room issues and kind of fell apart and lost to Tampa Bay in the wild card round and really didn't even compete. So when you add in the flavor of East Coast media, which you're very aware of, and Philadelphia, which has its own distinct flavor, it seems like every day is an adventure. I certainly think Nick and the coaching staff would rather not deal with it. I think from what I read last night, Nick started getting a little testy with all the A.J. Brown questions and the questions about his game management at the end of the Packers. And, I don't blame him. That's especially the A.J. thing. That's a hard thing for a head coach to have to deal with.
Well, I mean, give me a little more meat on that, Bones, because at one point he pointed out, hey, the touchdown to Devontae Smith was supposed to be for Brown, but he was covered, and we threw it over him for a score, and we won. So that was one interesting way that he did handle it. But if he's upset about being asked these questions, it's because there is no there, even though A.J. Brown says, hey, I'm just being honest. My work situation isn't great right now. Mike?
I think what all of us old people have to realize is that today's generation communicates a different way than we did. And A.J. Brown, everybody I know tells me he gets on the practice field, he works, he competes, he tries to get better, he tries to help the offense. Same thing on game day. When he goes home and he relaxes and he wants to get on Twitch, whatever it's called.
You nailed it.
And talk with his buddies and hang out and relax. He understands it's a public forum, but I don't really think he cares or understands that there's kind of a passive-aggressive tone to it with a message getting to the Eagles, even though he can say, hey, I was just, playing games on social media. You can take out of it what you want. The one thing he can't do, in my opinion, is come in and complain about all the attention when he's the one that kind of generates it with the comments he makes. So I think it's a little more complex than some people realize. At the end of the day, if the guys in the locker room are kind of just going, hey, it's just AJ. That's who he is. We're good. Then it's not a problem. It's all media noise. The only time it becomes a problem, in my opinion, and I'm not saying any of this is happening, but the line that can cross is if you get to a certain point where the quarterback doesn't trust the wideout anymore. That's an issue. Now, I don't see it. I don't expect it. I don't think it's getting there. But at this point, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni and the Eagles seem very content to say this is a really talented guy, and we're going to feature him every week in our game plan. And then we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, they keep winning. And then before we move on here to the Sunday night game, I'm wondering what the GM and you and the Roseman aficionado and you thought when Jalen Phillips recovered the fumble in the first half. Were you just chuckling? Like, there it is. There it is, a 3 for this guy. A 3 for this guy. When the rest of the league could have said, we'll give you a 3, and our 3 is definitely better than Philadelphia's. Unbelievable, right? Boom.
Yeah,
Makes a play.
There were a bunch of media people in Philly that wanted to talk about all the sexy stuff about going to get Myles Garrett. And I told one of them on the air, like, there's a less than 1% chance that happens. And they didn't want to hear that. And in my opinion, the guy they needed to go after was Jalen Phillips. He's 26 or 7 years old. He is a gifted dude. He's been hurt. So if it comes back to haunt them and he gets hurt tomorrow, I still say it was more than worth the third round investment. And Rich, I watched the defensive tape last night from the Packer game, and Jalen Phillips played his tail off both in the run and the pass game, and he will make a difference if he stays healthy.
Yeah, and Nakobe Dean looks like he's back too. He's all over the place, and now that's going to be the problem for the Lions offense, coordinated in part with the play caller and Dan Campbell. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.